Today I'm going to show you the whole process converting this vintage Cannondale road bike from drop handlebars to flat handlebars, and I'm also going to be converting it from downtube shifters to handlebar mounted trigger shifters. And so I think it'll be a fun project, and hopefully you guys will find it useful or interesting. So as part of the process of replacing the bars and the shift levers, brake levers, everything like that, I'm going to be having new cabling. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the old cables, and because all this stuff is going to be replaced anyway. And so I can start removing all this old stuff here. And then I want to remove the handlebars here. In order to do that, I'm going to need to remove at least one brake lever so I can slide it off. And so there's like a little end cap in here holding this on. So I'm going to remove this. And then remove this sort of cloth grip thing here. I don't care about it. So I can like tear it off or something. And so I cut the cable so I can pull this out of here like this. Get it out of the lever, get it out of the way. And then inside the brake lever here, there's like a little bolt here for the clamp. So I'm going to loosen this. And it's just a flat tip screwdriver on this one. They have different styles depending on the bike. And so loosen that clamp. And hopefully that'll be enough for me to slide this thing off like that. And then I want to remove the rest of this grip thingy here. So I'll go ahead and tear this. It's already just trashed anyway. And so I can get it slided off here. Okay, so I got one side all removed there. And so now I'm ready to remove the handlebars here. I got to remove this, loosen this clamp here, and that's like a 6mm. So I'm going to loosen this. And I want to remove the handlebars. I'm going to slide them out this way. I don't want to scratch them up, at least scratch them up as minimal as I can. And so what I'm going to use is I have some reverse pliers. I can put the reverse pliers down in here. This will help kind of spread this out a little bit, like this, and then I can work on sliding that out. That helps prevent getting this all scratched up, so I can reuse the handlebars in the future. And remove the brake lever there because I already cut that, or the cable there because I already cut that cable there. And so now I want to just kind of carefully work this out. This is always kind of a little bit of a puzzle here. Trying to get this, maneuver this out. There's that. Got it. And then I pull this cable out here like that, and so I got the bars off. Yay. And then I'm going to remove these downtube shifters here because I'm not going to be using these. And then I want to remove this little plate there. And I like to just get a screwdriver and just kind of give a little bit of tap, kind of loosen it up, and there, that's off. Same thing on this side. Remove this little screw here. And then I want to remove this little plate here. So I'll just kind of get the screwdriver there, right up against the backside. Just kind of tap it and knock it off. Okay, so I want to measure the clamp size on here on the handlebars here. So I got my caliper and measure that as 25.4, and that's actually a really common size on some of the older handlebars. And I want to reuse that same stem, so I have a flat bar here, and this is about 25.26, and that's close enough. That's probably falls in that same 25.4 millimeter diameter, which is pretty common on older road bike handlebars. And then I'm going to slide the new handlebars in and kind of get them centered in there like this. Get them approximately where I want them. And then I'm going to tighten this little clamp down here like that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about shifter choice. There's a ton of choices out there to work with your flat bar conversion, but the majority of them are probably going to be mountain bike shifters. I'm going to kind of give you some stuff to look for, and you're going to have to do your own research. Please do not message me, ask me for recommendations or whether particular shifters will work for your conversion. You have to do your own research. Now, this particular bike here is a 14-speed, so it's got a double on the front and 7-speed on the back, and it's Shimano, so it's SIS. So I need to find shifters that are compatible with that. So I found these shifters here. It's 7-speed for the rear here and 3-speed on the front. Now, a 3-speed shifter will work fine with a double or a triple, so that's not an issue there. Now, another thing to consider is your brakes. So if you buy independent, separate shifters, then that's not a problem, and then you just have to find brake levers that will work with your road brakes. Road brakes have a certain amount of cable pull, and they match up with what you'd find on a mountain bike with cantilever brakes. Now, newer mountain bikes often have V brakes, and they have twice as much cable pull. So brake levers that are designed for V brakes will not work with your road bike brakes. So you need to find brake levers that will work with cantilever brakes. Now, that's important, especially if you're getting integrated shifter brake levers. That'll kind of limit your choice a little bit. You'll have to find some. These particular ones here, Shimano EF51s, I have a video on these that kind of talks a lot about them, and I'll include a link to that video in the description of this one. But these particular ones, they come in a couple of different flavors. Some that have two finger brake levers. Those are only compatible with V brakes and will not work for this conversion. But these ones here have 4-finger brake levers, and the ones that have that have a switch in here to make them compatible with either V brakes or cantilever brakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this switch here to make them work with cantilever brakes, and so these will work fine for this conversion because the shifters, the 7-speed will work with the rear, the 3-speed will work with the front, and the brake levers are compatible with the cantilevers, and so these are a good choice for this conversion. Okay, so now I'm ready to mount the shifter on here, and I'll slide this on. And then I want to put the grip on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of alcohol, just squirt the alcohol inside the grip, shake it up, get it all coated on the inside. That works as a lubricant and it will evaporate. But I can slide the grip on there and get it all the way on there like that. And then I can slide the shifter back and get it lined up approximately where I want it. And I can always adjust it a little bit later. And then tighten the clamp down there. Like that. And same thing on the other side. I'll go ahead and slide the shifter on there like that. And I've got my grip. So a little bit of alcohol down in there. And it's just rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. I get this at the local pharmacy. Real cheap. Shake that up, kind of get that all coated up on the inside there, and then I can slide the grip on there. And get this lined up with the lever on the other side. So it's kind of about the same angle, and I'll clamp this on here like this. There. Okay, so now I want to install some cable stops on the Downtube here. If you have shifter mounts, you can get little cable stops like this. And I got these on Amazon, and I'll include a link in the description there. You can also find them on eBay. And this particular type requires one that's flat on the back side. Most bikes that I've done, they don't have this little flat part there, and they require one that's concave on the back there, but these ones are flat. And so I just slide this on there, and there's a screw there, and so I'll screw these on. If you don't have the shifter mounts like this, you can find little clamp-on cable stops that clamp onto the Downtube, and those will work just fine as well. And install one on the other side as well. It just screws right on there like this. Okay, so now another thing I want to change is the front derailleur. Since I'm using mountain bike shifters, I want to use a mountain bike front derailleur. Mountain bike front derailleurs and road bike front derailleurs have a different amount of cable pull, and so I'm going to be swapping out this road bike front derailleur with a mountain bike front derailleur with same clamp size as this. So just go ahead and unclamp this from the frame here. And this has got like a different type of clamp here, as opposed to just moving like a screw over there and have it swing open. This has got like a little metal bracket kind of goes around there. And I've already cut the cable there, so that's not an issue. And then I'll probably just remove this screw here to open the cage and remove it from the chain here. Or I could break the chain and do it that way as well, but I'll do it like this. And I'll clean off the frame a little bit before I put the new derailleur on there. Okay, so I'm going to mount this. This is a Shimano Dior DX front derailleur, mountain bike derailleur. It has the right clamp size for this seat tube. And so I'll remove this little screw here and then fit this over the chain like this, and then put the screw back in. And fit this clamp around here. And now to adjust this front derailleur here, I want this cage here to be parallel to this chain ring. And when it swings out, I want it to come probably like within a couple millimeters of the teeth of this chain ring here. I want to make sure it doesn't actually hit those, but I want them to come relatively close. And so when I get that, then I'll go ahead and tighten this clamp down. Okay, cable housings came with the shifters, but they're longer than what I really need. So what I can do is I can put it down here in the cable stop here, and put it here like this, up where they would come out of the shifter. And as I rotate the handlebars around, I want to make sure I have enough that it's not going to bind, but I have like way more than I need there. So what I'm going to do is trim a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'll just kind of hold it there, and I kind of rotate it around. I want to make sure that it still kind of turns smoothly there. So that actually kind of looks pretty good there. Maybe even like a little shorter there, but like this. And so I want to make sure it doesn't bind as the things rotate. So, but I don't want to cut too much off either. So I'm going to cut it right about here. And then I can use the tool here to kind of round that out there. And then take a skewer or an awl and put it in there to kind of open up the lining in there. Then double check this here, just make sure that that's about right, and rotate that around. And that actually looks pretty good, like right like that. And so then I could take the little ferrule that was on the other end there and put this on there like that. And since the other side should be the exact same length, I'll go ahead and cut this housing as well. Bring this up here and cut this up here. Again, use the tool, just kind of round that off there a little bit, because it kind of gets squished down when it gets cut. And then take my awl and stick it down there to help open up the lining like that. And so now I can run the shift cable down into the housing and pull this through. Get this seated up into the shifter. and get the other side seated down into the barrel adjuster of the cable stop here like this. And there. Run this cable down through the under the bottom bracket cable guide there and pull that tight like that. And I still have the old cable here in the rear derailleur, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut a new bit of cable housing here for this as well while I'm at it. So I got my new piece cut here, got ferrules on both ends, and so I'm going to run the cable through the cable stop here, run it into my cable housing like this and pull this through and get this seated into the cable stop like this. Run my cable down here through the barrel adjuster of the rear derailleur and get the cable housing seated into there like this, and pull this cable tight and get it seated into the little clamp bolt here, and then tighten down the clamp bolt here like that. Okay, so now that I have the cable hook up, I want to work on adjusting this rear derailleur, so I'll try shifting it up. One click, it shifts up one gear. One more click, shifts up another gear. One more click, shifts up another gear. One more click, and doesn't quite shift up to that next gear. So I want to adjust a little bit. So this barrel adjuster here, I'll turn this out just a hair and try it again. So one click, one click, one click, one click, one click, not quite, one more click. Okay, just a little bit more then. One click, one click, one click, 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 click. Not quite. And turn that out just a little bit more. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, down, 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 down. Okay, that looks pretty good, like that. Okay, so now I got that adjusted, I'm going to cut this cable right here, leaving like a couple inches on there, and I got like a little crimp end. I'll slide this onto here like this, and crimp it on here, keep the end from fraying, and done with that. Okay, so now I'm ready to start hooking up the front shifter here. So I got my cable housing that I cut earlier, and run the cable down through here and feed it down through the barrel adjuster here and pull that through and get this seated up into the shifter like that. Feed the cable down through the bottom bracket cable guide here and pull it up here behind the seat tube like this. Okay, since I just installed this front derailleur brand new here, I need to adjust the limiting screws on here. And so what I've done is I've shifted the rear derailleur up to the biggest cog here. And what I want to do is I want to adjust the limiting screw here on the front derailleur so that without the cable attached, it's going to come up and just the inside of the cage here is just going to lightly touch the chain. Like that. So now what I can do is go ahead and attach the cable here to the front derailleur. And I have the shifter shifted into first gear there to start off with. So I'll pull this nice and tight, and then I'm going to tighten this down here. And then what I'll usually do is now I'll loosen the limiting screw for that low thing, just so that the inside of the cage moves about 1 millimeter or 2, probably usually about 1 millimeter away from the chain there, like that. Okay, so now I can test the shifting here. And so it's on the small ring there, and I'll turn this around here, and up, it looks like it's trying to push the chain off the big cog there. Go here. Yeah, so I need to adjust the limiting screw here. So I'm going to tighten this big limiting screw here down a little bit. So I want to have it so it does not push it off the big cog there. And so that okay, so it's not pushing it off the big ring anymore, but I want to make sure it still makes it over there and doesn't rub here. That looks pretty good, but I'm still on the big cog in the back, so I'm going to shift it down to the small cog on the back and make sure that it still shifts okay here, and make sure it doesn't rub up here. That looks good. Shift it down, shift it up, shift it down, shift it up. And that looks pretty good there. So I'll cut the cable, leaving like an inch or inch and a half there. Okay, and I got a crimp in here, and I'll fit this on here like this, and crimp it on so that the end of the cable doesn't get all frayed up. Like that. And I'm going to rotate this, make sure that it's not hitting the cable there. And actually, I'll go ahead and just kind of bend this up a little bit here, just kind of get it out of the way so it doesn't hit the cranks or anything like when I'm shifted over like that. That looks pretty good. Now I need to cut some brake cable housing here. So I got some brake cable housing here. It's going to fit into there and come down to here. And so I want to have enough that it's going to have a nice smooth curve here. Let's come down here, and that looks pretty good there. So I'll get my cable housing cutters here and cut here like this. And then I just need to make sure that I have nice clean ends, nice and flat there, and get this here, make sure this is as nice and clean here, like that, nice and flat. And then I'll take my awl, stick it in the ends here, kind of make sure that the linings are nice and open in there. And let me see, I have ferrules here, so a ferrule will go in there, but a ferrule won't fit in there, so I only need the ferrule onto the one end there, and then no ferrule down into there like that. And then I've already switched these brake levers down to the cantilever setting. So I've got my brake cable here, slide it into there, and slide it into here, in through there, and then run it through the housing here, and pull this through and get the cable seated in there like this. And then I may go ahead and just turn this out a little bit to give me a little bit of adjustment room here when I go to adjust the brakes. And then I need to remove the fragment of old brake cable out of the little clamp here. So I'll loosen this. And then I'm going to run my new cable down through here like this. And I have the little loosening thing here. So this is to loosen the calipers there. So I'm gonna have this in the down position when I adjust the brakes. And so I'm going to go ahead and press the brakes in and kind of tighten this down a little bit here and see how this works. And that actually looks pretty good. The brake feels good there, and I might need to adjust the centering a little bit, but the cable adjustment looks right, so I'll tighten this down here like that. I'm going to cut off the excess cable down here like that and put a crimp end on here like this. And the front brake is pretty much done. I like adjust the centering a little bit, no biggie. Okay, so I've got a piece of housing here that I think is long enough, maybe just slightly longer than what I need. So I'm going to try it. And so this needs to go all the way from the brake lever back to the rear brake. And I'll go through these guides here. And so I'll slide this through here. And get it back to the rear brake here. And I want to make sure I have enough, a little bit of extra housing in here so that it doesn't bind up back here for the brake. And so that looks about right there. And so then the routing up the front here, go around that side here and go around to this brake here, and I don't want it to bind up there. So I mean, this is a little bit more than I need, so I can maybe just trim this off. And let me see, I can maybe play around with a little bit of routing here. Do I go to the inside of that? I can go to the inside of there, like this. That looks pretty good, like this. So I'm going to cut maybe an inch off of here like this. Clean up the end here and take my scribe and open that up there like that. Clean up the other end. That doesn't actually look half bad there. And then I can open it up like that, and that looks good like that. And so I need a ferrule on this end here, so I'll slide this onto the end of the cable housing here like that. And then I've got my brake cable here. I'll lock that in like that. And I'm going to rotate this out just a little bit. Again, give me some room for adjustment. And get these slots lined up there. And then turn that in just a little bit. And run the cable down through the housing here. Out through the back. And get the cable fully seated in there like that. And then I'm going to remove the little bit of remaining cable housing that was left in this brake here. So loosen this clamp here like this. Pull that out. And then run this cable down here through the barrel adjuster here like this. And I didn't need a ferrule on this end. And so then I'm going to slide the cable down through here like this. And I want this flipped down like this. And I'm going to press the brakes in, kind of hold them in, and kind of tighten this down a little bit here. And then I can test the brakes. Little tight, so I'm going to loosen this just a little bit here, just a touch. And I'm getting good movement on the one side, but not this other side, so I think I'm going to need to center the brake a little bit, just kind of adjust that. But I think the cable tension feels about right. So I'm going to tighten that down and cut the cable and get a little crimp end on here. And crimp that like that. So now to adjust this brake here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this nut on the back side here. Just loosen this up a little bit. Kind of move the brake over this way and then tighten it back down again. And see how that does. And that's a little too much. And so I'll loosen this back up again. Move it just a little bit over. And getting good movement there, so tighten this down, make sure that it doesn't move. And so now I'm getting good movement on both sides of the calipers there, and so that's working really well there, like that. And the same thing on the front one. See, I'm getting a lot more movement on this side than this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the nut in the back, just kind of pivot the brake over a little bit, and then try to tighten that nut in the back there with holding that in the position there, and then tighten it down, and that's a little bit better. This one is hitting there, so it's a little bit, but it's better. And then I'll also just try spraying down the thing here, a little bit of tri-flow into the mechanism. That might help as well. So everything kind of just moves a little bit smoother there. So it could just need a little bit of lubrication in there. But yeah, that's looking better. And done. Well, mostly done. I still need to do the pedals and saddle, but as far as the flat bar conversion, that is done. And I think it came out great. I'm real happy with it. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. I hope you found this video useful or interesting. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, click the little logo up in the corner and you see new videos that come out. I'm over on Facebook, RJ the Bike Guy. Go over there, like that page. I post a lot of stuff over there. And I have a webpage, rjthebikeguy.com. Go over there, sign up for that page. I have my videos categorized. I have forums where you can ask questions. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.